With tomorrow night's Oscars approaching, it's a time to celebrate the movies. But movie theaters are still having their struggles. According to a report this week by the National Association of Theater Owners, the U.S. has lost over 2,000 movie screens since the start of the pandemic.
Is this what it takes to survive these days as a theater?
I think so. You've got to curate an audience that wants to go back to the theater because there are certain demographics that aren't going back very much.
And now the company wants the Cinema Lab community to grow, with 5 theaters open by the end of the year and 15 by 2026, as more towns across the country reach out.
What's been the most rewarding part about all of this for you?
Just seeing busyness in the lobby, just seeing people sit there, people hang out, people smiling, a desire to want to keep the art form vibrant. We're just starting, but if I can shape people's experience, then I've succeeded.
Let's go fly a kite.
Film to me is pretty much a lifestyle. It's been a big part of my life for as long as I can remember. And I definitely have my parents and my grandparents to thank for that, for showing me various films when I was growing up. That sort of left a lasting impression on me, even to this day. And so they definitely helped instill that love of film into me. And it's not just the movie itself that I love the entire filmmaking process surrounding the movie. You know, I think it's very inspiring and pretty incredible to think that a movie starts off as an idea, which then turns into a script, which then turns into a big collaboration of people coming together. Everybody's talented in their own ways. You got writers, directors, producers, cinematographers, composers, all coming together to turn this script into a real life thing, which is the movie that you see in theaters. Basically, film to me is so important that a world without film is a world, in my opinion, not worth living in. We get plenty of really small, sort of independent films that come to theaters. And a lot of those, unfortunately, completely slip under the radar because, yes, you get this giant, big blockbuster that's coming in and it's taking its place. But the thing is, you can't blame the blockbuster. You kind of have to blame the moviegoer. You know, moviegoers are free to see what they want. I completely understand that. And maybe they're never heard of this independent film, they don't know the director, they don't know the cast, maybe it's all unfamiliar to them. I understand that, that's completely fine. But some of these smaller films really need to get a chance as well. They need to be seen, they need to be supported. Movies nowadays, they're franchises basically. You know, and it's unfortunate because you get movies like The Witch, Midsommar, movies that completely just slip under the radar because people would rather watch, you know, like I mentioned, the spin-offs, the franchises. Everything nowadays is a big multiverse. It's a universe. Movies can't just exist on their own anymore. It's like everything's part of a big franchise. It's part of a big universe. There's some big cinematic universe. You know, you got the MCU, the DCEU, everything's a universe now. And this is why I feel like, unfortunately, theaters aren't performing as well as they can be. Box office numbers, unfortunately, are like a huge thing. That's what studios pay attention to. And so when they see that Transformers 15 has made $1 billion at the box office, whereas The Witch only made, let's say, $1 million at the box office, what do you think studios are going to want to do? So unfortunately, this does feel like it kind of is the destruction of movie theaters. I personally hope that theaters don't die. I don't think they will, but you audience members out there, you need to see more smaller films. This is what's going to keep theaters afloat.
And I'm not crazy.
Our life together. We could lose this.
Where's my daughter?
It's just something about digital to me, and I get it. I can go right now, I can go pull up Netflix, I can pull up HBO, I can find anything they have with the click of a remote button. That's it. There's not something special about that. You know, to me, physically holding an object that I can pull out of my shelf, pop it into the player, hit play, that to me is more of a special experience than just pulling up the Netflix app, finding a movie to watch, and just hitting play on the remote. And surprisingly, Blu-rays actually go out of print. They become hard to find. When I watch a movie I love, I want to physically own that movie, which is why I still buy physical media and why I always will. So unfortunately, physical media is dying. It's on its last leg, and it's not going to be around forever. Because at some point, I am going to have to go all digital. It's inevitable. But to me, there's nothing special about digital. What's special to me is physically walking to my shelf, picking out a movie I like, popping it in the player, looking at the artwork. That, to me is special. That means a lot more to me than just turning on my computer and clicking on a digital movie file. But at the end of the day, the format does not matter at all to me. I'm always going to love movies. I'm always going to love the filmmaking process, and that is something that I have grown up with, and that is something I am going to carry with me for the rest of my life for as long as I'm around.